Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Sunday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today we're going to take a look at the frontal system that's moving in that's going to bring some more wind to Western Washington. And we're also going to take a look at the forecast for the next couple of days. So right now on the satellite, you can see our frontal system. It's offshore right now, and it's moving in. You can also see some lenticular cloud type action there on the lee side of the Olympics, and I've heard there's some great lenticulars on Mount Rainier right now as well. So now let's take a look at what we're talking about with this system here. So this area right here is what we're looking at. As you can see, it develops into a low as it moves closer to shore. And then you can see that moves in around 11 to noon today before moving into Alberta. And then it's going to cast this pressure gradient here across western Washington that's going to bring some gusty winds. And then that moves off to the east and strengthens over Alberta, but the pressure gradient weakens here over western Washington by this evening. So peak winds with this should be in the early afternoon hours. So let's take a look at those peak winds. This is the European model. We're looking at wind gusts at 9 a.m. here. As we go through 10 to 11 and noon, it starts to be gusting 40 to 45 miles an hour for parts of Whatcom and Island counties and the Admiralty Inlet area, and then gusting 30 to 40 miles an hour on the coast and 20 to 30 miles an hour in the Puget Sound area. But look here as we go to about 1 to 2 o'clock. So here's 1 o'clock. This looks to be the peak around 1 o'clock there for the Puget Sound area, gusting near 40 miles an hour for Tacoma, 43 in Bremerton, 40 along the coast, and then 45 for Whidbey Island, and up to 40 for the Bellingham area as well. And then you can see those 35 to 40 mile an hour gusts continue for the Seattle area around 2 p.m. there, and then still 45 miles an hour or so across Island and Whatcom counties, and then this starts to diminish across the whole area by about 5 p.m., though we do have a little bit of a westerly surge down the strait, but should only gust 30 to 40 miles an hour by this evening, and then those winds do diminish by 8 o'clock. Let's look at a higher resolution forecast. This is the NAM model. You can see it's also showing 40 mile an hour gusts across Whidbey Island this morning. This is 9 a.m., and that is occurring right now. As we go through this late this morning here, by noon, gusting 40 to 45 miles an hour for the Admiralty Inlet area and Whatcom County and the parts of the San Juans, and then 40 miles an hour along the coast. And then as we go to about 1 o'clock, get to up to 45 to 50 miles an hour along the coast near Ocean Shores and Westport there. And then more 45 to 50 mile an hour gusts from Everett northward by 2 p.m., and then those stronger winds start to spill into the rest of the Puget Sound area, gusting 35 to 40 miles an hour across the Seattle area by about 4 p.m. on the NAM. So this is a little bit of a later peak than the Euro that we just looked at. You can see those peak gusts around 40 miles an hour for Seattle and Tacoma and Bremerton, and that continues and diminishes by the time we get to about 6 p.m. here, with a little bit of that wind continuing across southern Whidbey Island before this westerly surge this evening brings gusts of 35 to 40 miles an hour to parts of Whidbey. And finally, taking a look at the high-resolution rapid refresh model, you can see it paints a similar picture here with these winds increasing out of the southeast across Whidbey Island this morning, although this seems to be running a little bit too late because this is already happening and it shows it happening at 1 o'clock. So this model is likely a little bit too late with this forecast. It does show peak winds of 35 to 40 miles an hour across the Seattle area, but mainly from 4 to 5 p.m., likely a little bit on the late side. It's probably going to be closer toward what the European model is showing, like between 1 and 3 p.m., so that's what I would guess. And then you can see it does show this westerly surge here, likely strongest around Dungeness Spit there in the Squim area, but still 35 mile an hour gusts again for Whidbey Island, and then everything should diminish by late tonight. So if I were to tell you when the peak would be, my guess would be generally between 1 and 4 p.m. for those peak winds, and it will likely gust near 40 miles an hour for Seattle and Tacoma and Bremerton, so the first decent wind event of the season for the Seattle metro area, so there could be some tree damage and some isolated power outages with all those leaves still on the trees. Now let's take a look at precipitation. British Columbia has been pounded by an atmospheric river that has brought near 10 inches of rain to parts of Vancouver and the lower mainland. It's also brought a lot of rain to the Olympics and the North Cascades, while the Seattle area and most of the Puget Sound lowlands have been in the rain shadow, except areas near Bellingham, and north, which have gotten near 2 inches of rain. Some areas have gotten more. As we go through today, that atmospheric river is going to sag south this evening across the area and then move out of the area very quickly by tonight. Then we have another round of precipitation that moves in Monday afternoon there, and you can see that continues at times through Tuesday morning before we dry out, and we will remain dry all the way through Wednesday and Thursday before our next system starts to arrive late Thursday there. So we should have a nice couple days break from the rain. And taking a look at rain totals, this is the National Blend of Models. I put this out to about midday Tuesday, and you can see this is the expected rain we will get here for most of the lowlands. It should be 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch, and then for the North for most of the Cascades, they're 3/4 of an inch to up to 2 inches for the North Cascades. They're 1.5 inches for the rest of the Cascades, and then on the coast about 1/2 inch from Ocean Shore southward, and then over an inch there for the North Coast and the Olympic Mountains that could get up to 4 inches there as this atmospheric river sags south out of the area. And now let's take a look at high temperatures. I'm sure you noticed it was on the warm side yesterday, and it's remained warm overnight. It's 10 a.m. here in Federal Way, and it's already 60 degrees. It's going to be another warm one today, and that's due to the subtropical moisture that this atmospheric river has brought in. As you can see today, highs from Seattle north will be in the low to mid 60s, and from Seattle southward, highs will be in the upper 60s there, with the potential for some places to reach the low 70s ahead of this storm moving through, and then the low 60s on the coast. But we plummet back down to typical fall temperatures tomorrow. Monday's highs likely in the mid 50s from Seattle north and the mid to upper 50s from Seattle south and on the coast. Similar thing on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then on Thursday we do warm up a little bit more. Highs Seattle south may reach the low 60s, but today is an anomaly. The rest of the upcoming days will be much cooler, so our typical fall temperatures will be returning very soon. And just wanted to mention this again, I'm on Blue Sky. I'll put a link to that in the description. I've got 87 followers in just like 3 days here, and we got a lot of Pacific Northwest weather folks that are going to be on here on Blue Sky. So I'll put a link to my account in the description below. This is a great new social media site to get on. We're all getting on there as well, all of us weather folks. So be sure to get on there, get an account, and give me and the other Northwest weather folks a follow. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and share these videos. I've seen an increase in subscribers in the last few days with these more active conditions, so be sure that you subscribe as well. And stay tuned, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.